Hello and welcome to Tip Jar Guitar. Brian here, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the blues in any key, the 12-bar blues, to that shuffle feel. And this key is an A, as it says right here in the title. And this is a ts005. TS is for tip sheet, and you can get this tip sheet by going to my patreon.com/tipjarguitar. You can also sign up for my newsletter and find all kinds of other good stuff at tipjarguitar.com, and I give out some free chord sheets there for the signing up for the newsletter and a blank tab and blank chord charts. So alright, so now you can follow the link to the video description if you're in YouTube to my Patreon page, and this is the 12-bar blues structure, and we'll go over that. So first, what you want to be able to do is you want to take your one finger, put it on the 5th fret of the low E. That's an A note. You can hear it's the same as the open A. And then you're going to have to take your 3 finger or ring finger to the 7th fret. So this is a 5th chord or a power chord. If I played the major scale here, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could normally play power chords with your 1 finger and your 4 finger, but in this case we have to use our 3 finger because we're going to reach our pinky out here, and you'll see how that works. But have your thumb behind the center of your fingers here, right on the back of the neck, kind of almost behind your 3 finger, and well, between your 3 and your 1, and everybody's different with that. But the trick here is also you want the angle of your 3 finger to mute the D string, and your 1 finger can even mute the rest of them. So what you do then is I like to have the heel of my palm behind the bridge, or even kind of palm muting the strings, depending on the sound you're trying to get. Palm muting is where you just take your palm just a little bit up over the saddle of the bridge. Not too far, because you'll mute it completely. But don't worry about that at first. Just try to get a clean sound. Nice little even pick strokes. So there's a 5th chord or a power chord. And you could play this by doing double stops, but this lesson is going to be just playing one note at a time. So if you look here in the tab, this first note is actually going to be a pickup note before the first full measure. So that's also called anacrusis in Greek, pickup note. So there's not a full measure of notes, it's just a pickup note. And that's starting on the and of 4. You can see that there is an 8th note on its own, has a note head that's filled in with a flag. So really when we're starting this, and this is going to have a shuffle feel, that's what this means up here. Instead of going 1 and 2 and, you go 1 and 2 and. So that means you're delaying the and. So here, when I count in and play this first note, I have my power chord down. My pinky's going to be ready because I'm going to stretch it out to the 9th fret. And you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's what the first note you start on. And then here is where beat 1 comes in. So you go and 1, and then you take that pinky, 2. So I'm keeping this power chord down. That's a 5th chord. So if this is the 5th degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's the 6th. So I'm playing 1, 5, 1, 6. And if you don't understand this and want to get to know the theory better, please sign up for guitar coaching at patreon.com, or contact me for Skype guitar lessons. You can find that from my Patreon page as well. And we can go over this in more depth. So what we're doing here is we're going 5, 7, 5, 9, 5, 7, 5, 9. And so, one full measure you go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I just played all of line 1 except for the very last note here, because I ended on 4. Because notice on the and of 4, you're going to switch your 1 finger here. You're going to put your 1 finger right here on the 5th fret. And you're going to make a power chord on the 4 chord. So this note here is D. D is the 4th degree of the A major scale, so you call it the 4 chord. So in this case, since we're playing in the key of A, we started on A, played 4 measures. That's the 1 chord. So we played 4 measures. That means it's a measure, measure 2, measure 3, measure 4. That was all A. D is the 4 chord because it's the 4th degree of A. So here we're at the 4 chord, and we play that for measures 5 and 6. But we're actually kind of anticipating it a little bit here because in measure, well, the 4th full measure, I should say, we're going, because it really is measure 5 in the tab. You can see that little tab 5, but I'm saying like the 4th full measure. Here, you're anticipating going to the 5th measure by going down to D. So that's what you do there. So you go, then you go and 1. So that's what I just did there. I went from here and 1. And now notice we're playing 2 measures on D, and then on the end of 4 of this 6th full measure, we're going to go back to A and play that for 2 measures. So if I'm playing line 2 here, this is what, starting from here, we're going and I'll play all of line 2. So we go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And actually I shouldn't have played that 4 there, because notice that we go back to the 5. So let me do that again. So we go and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So that's that and there. You go up to the back and there. So all right, all of line 2. So I actually just played up to that 9th fret. Now we're going to go to the 5 chord. So we have to, this 7, you put your 1 finger there on that 7th fret. This is the 5 chord. And we're going to play the last 4 measures, which are kind of the hardest. So we start there and then go. Like that. And now really, I just noticed something. If we're repeating it, we have to do this. All right. So those are the last, 4 measures. The last 2 are actually called the turnaround. So here we went from so there is up to that point, up to the 11th fret where my pinky is now. And then we go back to the 4 chord. That's where I ended there with my pinky on the 9th fret. Hop back up. Now maybe kind of the hardest part of all, you're just lifting these in unison, keeping them the same shape essentially, bringing it back to the 5 chord. And then here, if you wanted to go and start again, that's a repeat symbol. But notice before the repeat symbol, you're playing that 5th fret of the. This is really the same note, but you're bouncing back to this repeat symbol. So instead of playing this note here, you're playing it up here. So otherwise, you could just end it, there without playing that note. So that's how you would repeat it there. Now. That finishes off the structure because we went 1 chord for 4 measures, 4 chord for 2 measures. That was when we hopped down to D. And then we went back to 1 chord for 2 measures, A. And then the 5 chord up here on B. 1 chord, 5 chord. Oh, it should be 5 chord, 4 chord. This will be corrected in the tab. Or, you know what? Let me just do it now. What the heck? Why not? Let's make this fun. So 5 chord, 4 chord, then 1 chord, and then 5 chord. So by the way, I'm using Guitar Pro here, and you can get the Guitar Pro files at patreon.com, and you can play along to them. You can change the speed, you can loop, It's a really powerful software. So you can get these guitar profiles at patreon.com/tipjarguitar. Now, like I said, you can play it in any key. So I was in A, I was starting here. Notice that A is 1, right below it is the 4 of the A major scale, then the 5. So if I moved it down to G, it would all be the same. I would just shift everything down and start on G. That'd be the key of G. So, and I can start on any key, whatever notes I start on, I just hop down and do that little L shape right there. So, really super important lesson, because if anybody says, play blues in the key of C sharp, you would find your C sharp. That's on the 9th fret there of the low E, and there's your C sharp 5 power chord. And as far as technique goes, just make sure you don't bend the strings down. Try to mute the strings you're not playing. Keep your pinky, just a little bit on and off the fretboard. Just try to get, well, it's sort of hard, but try to get control of that little muscle right there, like that. And, you don't want your hand twisting and flying around. You just want to have a nice classical position here, meaning, your fingers on the back of the fretboard. Really forces you, because you can't have your thumb up here, take it in like that. So, there's a nice little lesson. Play the blues in any key. If you have any questions, please ask it on my Patreon, where you can get the PDF tab for this, and you can also get the guitar profiles and practice to it. So I appreciate your support, and I'll see you there.